I just spent the past 2 days in Medellin working on my visa. So I have officially moved to Colombia. Officially, like, as in, I'm not just here on a 3-month tourist visa. So I actually went through the process of receiving a visa for a year. So I think a year is pretty good amount of time to actually say that I moved somewhere. I'm like living in one location. I have a legit visa. So I kind of want to talk about the process and what kind of visa I did get to stay here for a year. The whole main reason of being here is because I want to live in another country as well as learn Spanish. So I decided to come back to Colombia to learn Spanish because I like this country and I like their dialect in Spanish. It's not easy. So I was talking to a friend of mine one day and she had mentioned that there was a school in Medellin that offers a 1-year student visa. So I thought, well, maybe I'll look into it and see how much it costs and how much, like, what a pain in the butt it is to get a visa. So I actually looked into it, and the language school is called LCN. I'll leave the link below if anyone else is interested. And basically you have to sign up, you have to pay. It cost me $900 for a year, which breaks down to $76 a month for Spanish classes. That includes a student visa, which they do not help you get, by the way. So getting a visa is sort of a difficult process. The first time I filed, I had no idea what to do, so my visa did not get approved, so I just hired a lawyer. It was only like $230 for a lawyer, and he basically did everything that I could not figure out because the website is in Spanish. Even when you translate it to English, I still didn't understand it, so it was kind of a pain. So I just hired him. As soon as he filed, within 3 days, my visa was approved. So I spent the past 2 days in Medellin getting my cedula, which is like your temporary residence card. It's like your identification plus the visa. So I have like a number for Colombia. So the first thing that you have to do to get a visa, obviously, is find someone to get sponsored. So I chose the student visa. There's lots of different types. You can get a work visa, you can get a spousal visa, you can get a retirement visa, and you can get a visa for buying a business or investing in a business, a certain amount of money. I believe it's $25,000. So I just chose a student visa because, number one, I want to learn Spanish. Number two, that is why I'm here. And so I chose the appropriate visa for my type of stay. And the hard part is, after your visa is approved, they make an appointment for you to go into immigration. And immigration, you have to either go in Bogota or in Medellin. I'm closer to Medellin. It's only a 4-hour bus ride, so I chose to go there. And going to immigration when your Spanish sucks is horrible to start with. So basically, I mean, I made it. I got through. When I got there, in case this is your situation, you do need copies of your visa, and you need copies of your passport and your passport stamp, which my lawyer actually told me I didn't need copies of anything. And when I got there, I told the woman that, she just basically said my lawyer was stupid, which he isn't, but he obviously didn't know, and I should have just had copies. But luckily right next door is a internet cafe, so I just went and got copies of everything. And then I went back to the visa, the immigration, and I had to basically, you have to tell them why you're there, and then you go to another line where they just look at your passport, and then another guy stamped my passport, and then he gave me a bunch of copies, and then I had to go to another person where they took my fingerprints and they took a picture. And basically you go room to room to room for about an hour. One guy needed my address, they needed my blood type, they needed my email and my phone number. Other than that, they just kind of push you through like you're like cattle, and they just stamp your passport, and then eventually you pay somebody. It costs me $56 US for the cedula. Once I paid him, I had to sit again, and then eventually they gave me back my passport, and he told me to, well, he didn't actually tell me, he pointed to a sign and had to ask someone to help translate what his point meant. So basically he was telling me that in 8 days I have to make an appointment to go pick up my physical, like, it's like getting a driver's license in the US. I mean, not really, but it's not a driver's license, but it's like the equivalent. It's like a little card that I have to go back and pick up in 8 days. But I realized online you can look and find out when it is ready. So all I have to do is type in my passport number, and once I figure out when it's ready, I'll make the appointment, and then I have to go back physically in person, make an appointment, and pick it up. So it's kind of a hassle. So step by step, first thing, find someone who will sponsor your visa. Like I said, I went through a Spanish school. You need a visa letter. Then you go to the immigration website to apply for the special type of visa. I recommend hiring a lawyer because it is less of a hassle and pain-free. My visa was approved in 3 days, and then you have to go to Medellin within 2 weeks to collect, or to the immigration office to collect and to file like your fingerprints and get a picture and to actually get processed in the system. And then after that you have to go back again to pick it up. So it's a lot of back and forth, especially if you don't live in the city like me. I live 4 hours away, so it's kind of a pain, but still worth it. So I officially will have my 1-year student visa to stay in Colombia for a year, which is very exciting. So it's the first time I've actually lived in another country. It's the first time I've actually settled down somewhere for longer than 3 months in the past 3 years. So we'll see how it goes. My classes online so far, I like them, but they're not really, they don't have a lot of offered. Like tomorrow I can't even take class because there's none available. So that's like one of the downsides with the school. And I'm starting in the very beginning, which is fine, but I kind of know some of the stuff already, but whatever, it is what it is. I just have to take more classes per week so I can kind of catch up to where I'm actually physically at in my language learning right now. And yeah, so I get to stay until August of 2022 without having to leave the country, without having to, because in Colombia you can come as a tourist for 3 months and then you extend your visa for another 6 months. You actually cannot stay in the country for longer than 180 days out of a total calendar year. So next August of next year I'll have to figure out what to do for a visa, or if I'm ready to leave here then I can leave, but I won't be able to stay in the country as a tourist because I'll already use up my 6 months. So I'll actually physically have to leave the country, but that's a problem for next year and I don't have to worry about it at this moment. So I can continue my garden and my normal everyday living of living here in San Carlos, which is actually pretty chill. After being in Medellin for 2 days, I was like so ready to come back. It is so loud, so much traffic, and I realized that I really don't like the city anymore. And I'm very happy and content in this like little town that is hidden away in the mountains of San Carlos. So that is how I am staying in Colombia for a year, how I got a visa. And also, that's not all the cost of the visa because you have to pay for cedula. I had to pay for random things. I think in total my visa probably cost, including the visa, I might have had to pay around $200 I think for the visa because my cedula was $56. I also had to pay another 50 something. It's like randomly they'll be like you have to pay 50 pesos. Luckily my boyfriend is Colombian, so he's transferred a lot of bank stuff because a lot of stuff you can't actually pay online, and he's had to like make it through banks. So luckily for him, he's helped me a lot. But yeah, so find a friend if you go through this process. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But hopefully this helps someone who is interested in becoming a student here in Colombia. I will link to school I'm going to. I'll link my lawyer's information below. I actually really liked him. He was very fast. He called me on WhatsApp. There was a few like in expat. I found him in an expat group on Facebook, which I hate expat groups, but they're good for finding things. And he was actually just like some random lawyer that I saw responded to a question, and I had actually messaged another group and they kept emailing me back and forth, and I'm like, that's not my question. So I emailed him once and he's literally like, can you call me? So I called him, and as soon as I talked to him I was like, yeah, he's perfect. And they cost the exact same, and I was like, okay, get someone who's responsive and talks to me on WhatsApp and is very responsive to me, or get a group of people that don't respond back to me, and it was kind of a pain. And they were more expensive as well, so they're probably busier. But anyways, I like this guy a lot, so I will link his information below as well, that in case you're in this situation, or if you want to ask me any questions about how I did it, more in details of the cost, I would have to look all that up because it was kind of random here, random here, random here, on top of having to go to Medellin and back in the hostel and everything. But yeah, drop me a comment. Do you live in Colombia? Where do you live? Do you want to come here? Do you want to learn Spanish? All that information, I can help you. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you later. Bye.